Hello and welcome to our third DILAX Tech Talk. For those of you who are new, this is our virtual series about automatic passenger counting. My name is Meliton Chaidez, and I'm a sales representative with DILAX, and I will be hosting our discussion here today. With me today, we have a familiar face, Michael Zander. He's the president of DILAX US, and he's also the company's global product manager. He's been with the company for over 10 years, so we definitely have a lot of experience here to dig into and maybe pull some valuable insight. As a reminder or an introduction for those of you who may not be familiar with our series, this webinar series is centered around automatic passenger counting. In our previous webinars, we discussed the fundamental components that make up an APC system, from the actual physical sensors all the way to the back-end systems that process the data. So if you would like to see that and maybe missed it, I would advise you to pause the video and go back and watch that so you can get a fuller picture of what we're going to be talking about here today. So today we plan to dig a little bit deeper into the software side of an APC solution. So Michael, we get to our first question. Last time we talked about the sensors that exist on the physical transit systems that count the boardings and the lightings. Today I want to talk more about the software. So where does software fit into an APC solution?
So APC software actually, or data analytics, is where real magic happens. The sensors are collecting the raw data, but only with the software we're able to turn it into insights and knowledge. So this includes a couple of steps like quality and plausibility checks, assigning of raw data to the planned trips in the schedule, but also considering special situation in public transit networks like carryover for connected trips, the waiting hall events, or the topic of consists that split and join, especially for light and heavy rail networks. The raw data from the sensors are imported into the software. This actually works automatically. And then the raw data gets matched with the agency's schedule, which also will be imported automatically. After this, the software is able to turn the data into handy information and knowledge. Our own ridership data software, DILAX Citizen, was built to be completely customizable to meet the requirements of transit agencies. If you're looking to know how many people are boarding on a certain stop on a specific day, the software can pull that data together and present it in an easy to understand graph or chart, for instance.
So easy to understand is always a good thing when talking about software. I know it can be a very complex and complicated issue for many people, so it's good to make it simplified and easy to understand. So now that we talked about that, what insights can transit agencies receive from something like a software system for APC, and why should they even consider or be interested in looking into it?
So I think at the end, it's all about efficiency. So reliable APC data has endless potential, but I think the most interesting is the vast insights into your network it offers. With the right software in place, raw APC data can be converted into a variety of important insights that can revolutionize the efficiency of public transportation. Still, we often see that APC systems and numbers are mainly used to support the so-called NTD reporting, where agencies are obliged to report the numbers of passengers and passenger miles. But reducing an APC system just to this would be a big waste. APC software can support you in so many more ways. Establishing KPIs about the service performance is one of it. How many people are using the network, when and for how long? Developments through the day, the week, or even over years can be monitored. Planning processing for schedule adjustments to provide better demand-oriented service is definitely another reason for why many of our customers value APC data and our ridership data software. Also for investment planning and decisions like future capacity requirements, size of vehicles, number of seats or spaces for wheelchairs, strollers, or bikes, APC data is very helpful. What's interesting is that we see people from very different departments within an agency working with APC data. Data scientists are at the forefront and getting many requests, of course, but traffic planners make use of it by basing the route planning and scheduling on the APC data. Revenue departments use it for NTD reporting, of course, but also for revenue sharing. And management will use it as the grounds for strategic decisions about network development. So you see, there are a lot of use cases just within one single agency.
So you mentioned there are a ton of different departments and people that might want to get their hands on that type of information. So I guess my question next is, can you add additional data into these reports, into this software? Because it sounds like a lot of different people are going to have different goals and KPIs to perform on. So is there a possibility for this software to receive different things besides just APC data?
Yeah, that's an absolute yes. So the software can take into account a lot sorts of data inputs, not just APC data. So adding data coming from wheelchair ramps or bike racks from the vehicle itself is very common, for instance. The integration of ticket transactions in the buses or in the trains, or also importing the whole database from fare collection systems that can be also integrated into the whole software, and you can provide joint reports about that. As another example, we work with customers that want to add holiday and event calendar data into the database. That can be very useful for agencies servicing metropolitan areas, for example. Here in Chicago, there are events occurring constantly, whether it's a concert on a Saturday or a basketball match on a Wednesday. The APC software can produce valuable information about the passenger flow specific to the agency and their network, and supports their daily operations. Especially for enhanced data processing, like our crowding predictions or also the deviation analytics, such information is very valuable and helps the agency to understand passenger and network behavior better and supports network and service optimizations.
So that all sounds really good. It sounds like the more information you can have, the better service you can provide for the customer. So that's definitely an appealing point for a lot of transit agencies that may be watching. So next, I want to kind of get more into the specifics of what can come out of it. So is there any use cases that you've personally seen with your experience where you've seen data synchronization happen?
Let me give you 3 examples on that. So first, while the import of schedule data is pretty standard for the software, it also gives you a lot of additional insights. Based on the planned schedule, you can get an overview of the punctuality of the different lines at different times of the day, analyze where the delays typically occurs, and look for correlations between the number of boardings and increased delays, for instance. Second one is another example. It's about fare collection data. That can be used to dive deeper into the delay analysis, get more detailed information about the use of different payment types, for instance, and their effect on stop times, essentially allowing you to improve efficiency in your services and minimize costs. And third, especially for enhanced data processing like crowding prediction and deviation analytics, information about events, school holidays, or business open and closing time is very valuable. And helps the agency to understand passenger and network behavior better and supports network and service optimizations for different situations.
So it sounds like it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all approach. It sounds like there's a ton of customization that goes on into actually creating a software for an agency. So, I mean, it seems to be a complicated topic, but it seems like you have it down to a science. So my question is, how do you work with an agency to figure out what they need in terms of a software when it comes to the KPIs, and how do you customize that within the system?
So agencies vary in different ways. So like from the vehicles being used like buses, trains, LRVs, or other types, to the transit system in place at all. So having the ability to tailor the software to specific agencies is a major benefit. With our software citizens, for example, it's completely customizable and can be configured to meet a customer's exact needs and expectations. The dashboard can be created to highlight the most important metrics and insights a user wants to see first. We are talking to the users and find out what information they benefit the most from. So we are not only installing and configuring the software for the agencies, but we also establish a variety of standard and tailored reports so the agency can work with the software from day one. On top, the users get a detailed training to be able to adjust reports if needed, and also our service provides permanent support on this to make sure the agencies get the most out of the data for its specific needs.
So getting the most out of the data is definitely a major benefit. I'm glad you mentioned it because I know that's something all agencies want to hear when it comes to their data in automatic passenger counting. Now speaking more broadly, I know one major benefit of APC that I've heard from you and from customers themselves has been that they offer a clear picture in terms of what their vehicle loads are. And because of the sensor technology, it also allows them to work in real time. So that's kind of my next question. I know real time is definitely a very hot topic and everybody wants it. How does the software get into real time? Can it do real time analysis and how does that process work?
Yes, for sure. This also ties into the conversation of customizability. So while APC data evaluation traditionally worked for statistical applications and statistical use, the use and value of real-time data has become more and more a focused topic. Depending on what an agency needs, having real-time data and analysis is definitely possible. We have lots of experience in this and worked with an increasing number of agencies to overcome some obstacles around real-time data feeds and the use of it for operational applications, as well as improved passenger information. Mm-hmm. An important prerequisite of real-time data is the connection to the land side. That needs to be quite stable.
Okay, so speaking of stable connections, I know that's very important when you're talking about real-time connection. Now, my next question is somewhat related to it. Can the software be cloud-based? So it kind of talks about flexibility here, I would assume, but can the software be hosted on a cloud-based server?
So with our software citizens, we are offering on-premise solutions as well as cloud-based versions. Mm-hmm. If you choose the cloud-based version, it can be accessed on any computer or even on a tablet or your smartphone without any sort of installation. This allows agency personnel to easily access their data and insights wherever they may be.
So very flexible indeed. That sounds like it's a very customizable and it can work with any agency's needs. So now a final question, Michael. I'm sure we've all had a situation where we've imported a ton of data into the software, and then after working on it for quite some time, you've realized there's some type of error or there's something missing, there's a mistake. Is the software smarter than me? Can it assist me in being able to recognize those errors before it's a little too late? And how does it really do that?
Yes, it can. That's a very, very important part of the data processing. To be honest, nothing has a bigger impact on accuracy or data accuracy than using wrong or incomplete data. With our software citizens, there is like an inbuilt feature that is able to flag abnormalities in the data flow. It works on one hand based on the diagnostic data coming from the hardware in the vehicles, but it goes beyond that. For example, if a door doesn't open over time while the other doors of a vehicle are opening all the time, there's probably a problem with that specific door. Or if we see the door open signal goes, but there's never a boarding or lightning count, also maintenance is required for that specific door or that specific vehicle. And the data is obviously incomplete. Also, quality checks comparing boardings and the lightnings for a whole trip or a whole day support finding data errors. Especially in larger transit agencies, this type of issue can go undetected for some time if you don't get aggregated information and specific hints where to look for a potential problem. Such maintenance reports can also help to schedule required work in advance and combine it with other required activities to save time and costs.
Interesting. So, Michael, thank you for your time. To sum up, it sounds like APC is really good, but it's only as good as the software it has. So you can have the best hardware, but if the software isn't there, it sounds like you really can't really do much with the data. So again, Michael, thank you for sharing and thank you for your time. That concludes our Tech Talk for today. Thank you for watching, for everybody who did, and stay tuned for more content. You can find more information about our APC technology at dilax.com. That's DILAX.com. Also, if you have any questions or topics that you would like us to discuss that we didn't discuss today, please feel free to contact us in the information provided. There'll be a link and our resources with this video as well. So thank you for your time. Until next time.